Well, kia ora, Angela. Isn't this beautiful to be here at Waitangi, this tapu whenua, and really good to meet with you and talk about such an important kaupapa, I think. So, in these challenging times, what are the issues that are sort of up front?
Well, recently we did our 5th annual Māori Business Sector Report,
Right.
where we surveyed, 150 business leaders from across Aotearoa, and there were 5 main points that came out of those surveys.
Māori businesses.
Māori businesses,
Right.
Māori business leaders across Aotearoa. One of the ones that surprised us was there's a focus on the short term, and what it looks like that comes down to is hard times.
That's a survival
It's
strategy.
a survival strategy.
Kia ora.
So when you're facing cost restraints, your cash flow's tight,
Supply.
you bring it in.
Right.
You bring it in. So there was a real focus, that's what we saw in the survey, of bringing it in.
Right.
And just getting through day by day,
Hunker down, eh?
hunker down,
Yeah.
and just do the essentials.
So what about collaboration? You know, are our people looking to each other, comparing notes to move forward? How's that going? Because it's a big part of being successful, I think.
It is. Working with others is the key to being successful. What the survey showed was there's less of that happening right now.
Wow.
So during COVID, I know up here in Taitokero, we saw collaboration like we'd never seen before with iwi partners and hapu. People came together to do what they needed to do. And now we're seeing less of that, less collaboration, less partnering in the current environment.
Wow.
Yeah, which was really interesting.
Have you any idea why that? I mean, straight away I think of COVID and working in silos. I also think, which could be completely wrong, whakamā. You know, things are tight for people, they just want to hunker down. Have you got any thoughts?
I think exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Things are tight,
Yeah.
people hunker down. There's still a lot, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of collaboration
Cool.
happening out there, and people are working together in different spaces
Yeah.
where they can gain those opportunities. But people are bringing it in, they're hunkering down, and things are a
Weathering
bit
the
tighter.
storm, eh?
Weathering the storm, that's exactly it.
Wow, we're going to get through this, you know.
Yeah, they're going to get through. It's just a blip.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a blip.
yeah. So there's some real challenges out there for wider whānau in business.
There's probably 2 other things that came through the survey.
Yeah.
One was around ESG and sustainability. So ESG, it's sort of a catchphrase that is around there now, and it's basically what Māori have been doing for years, but it's environmental, social and governance awareness.
Hundreds of years.
Yes, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So now ESG is a key focus in many businesses. So it's how are you measuring your environmental footprint?
Right.
And what's your response to climate change
Right.
as a business?
Right.
Your social responsibility.
Kia ora.
What are you doing out there for the community and the wider social network? And then around governance, are you doing your required due diligence, your training, your risk management around that governance space
Yeah.
to make sure that you're the best you can be? And it's all about sustainable business practice.
Right.
And
Are those real challenges at the moment?
they are. But as Māori business, I think as kaitiaki, you understand it. Sometimes the thing that I find with our Māori business, they don't realise they're already doing it.
Right. It's in the DNA, do you think?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. They often think, oh no, we're not really doing anything, but when you talk to them, they're actually doing a lot, especially in the social space.
Yeah.
Especially in that social space. But what we found with the survey, which was quite interesting, is Māori businesses didn't think that they were as far ahead of non-Māori businesses
Right.
as they had previously felt. So I'm not sure what's brought that on, but I wonder if it's just the emergence of everybody else catching up.
Right.
Everybody else with climate change, you know, all of our weather
It's
events
here. It's here.
that have been happening
Yeah.
has really brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
And things that are happening in the carbon market, all sorts of things are just really bringing it to people's doorsteps.
One of the challenges out there is labour and labour shortage. Is that something that features with you guys?
Absolutely. That is one of the biggest challenges that businesses are facing. Not just Māori business, but all businesses.
Yeah.
But finding Māori labour supply
Right.
for the roles that you're looking for is really tough. It was interesting in the survey, one of the things that Māori businesses are looking for most are employees with self-motivation.
Right.
And when you think about that you've got to be self-motivated, right? So how do you bring that out in your employees because they found it's lacking? But it's about looking after people, I think, and making it a great place to be.
Yeah.
Because you spend so much of your time at work, right? So you've got to ensure as an employer that you're providing a workplace that people want to be at, and you look after, show manaaki to your workers,
That's
and
so
look
cool.
after your employees so they motivate themselves to want to be there and to be more productive.
And be a part of that
and
wider
be
group of whānau.
part of it.
So you're talking about relationships and environment to create that culture, right?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said in the workplace for loyalty. So if you create that environment, you're going to get loyalty. So in these tough times, loyalty can really, really help the situation, eh?
Absolutely, because this is your work whānau.
Aye.
Often it's your actual whānau.
Yeah, we'll spend more time with them.
Yeah, but
I like that work whānau.
Yeah, they're your work whānau, so you need to look after them.
Yeah.
But and also providing opportunities and training, and providing professional development opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people feel good about where they
You know
are.
what our people used to say? Aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tagata, he tangata.
Taka.
And that stuff doesn't change.
It
eh?
doesn't change.
So cultural identity, well-being, tell me about that. That must be a big part of what's happening.
Cultural identity is huge.
Yeah.
Not just as Māori, but within our businesses as well. So in our survey that we did, cultural identity was number one.
Really?
Yes, to attribute to how they saw the Māori economy developing.
Right.
That was the key aspect that they saw as that primary important value, I guess. But it's just integrating that in and being open to all the cultures in your business.
Yeah.
No matter whose they are and what they are, it makes people feel welcome.
Well, that is being Māori.
It is.
You know,
It is.
it's a manaaki tangata, eh?
It is.
That's fantastic. Thanks for all that kōrero, but what are some practical tips that our whānau can, our business whānau can implement?
Okay, practical tip.
Yes.
In tight times, know your cash flow.
Right.
Get your cash flow done. People often will do a budget, but when it comes to can you pay your bills, you need to know if you've got enough money. So just those cash flow forecasts, looking into the future and making sure you've got enough money to meet your everyday bills, that's key. Knowing your financials. Have a system that you can keep up to date so at any time you can run a report
Right.
and have a look and see how you're doing.
So at any time you know where you are at.
You know where you are at.
Right.
And keep it up to date. So many people, there's so many systems now that are easy, they're user friendly, they're built for the user. Keep on top of them.
Cool.
Keep on top of them. Keep up to date with all your IRD payments. That's just a simple thing. But if you come into trouble, because we are in tight times, reach out and talk to either your accountant or the IRD.
Right.
Everybody's there to help. So for Māori businesses, there's the Māori liaison officers.
Right.
Yes, that you can reach out to
Yeah.
and get support if you need it.
But don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it. It builds up.
Yeah.
And interest and penalties are real.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, definitely.
So you spoke earlier about there's not enough kōrero amongst Māori business. It's a real positive thing to do, but that's actually dropped. How can we encourage that to sort of talk to each other, compare ideas, strengthen up a bit?
So it can be a lonely place business sometimes, and you will have people in your networks that you can reach out to. But what I really encourage our Māori business whānau to do is go to Māori business networking events, talk to other Māori business owners, and you'll be facing the same challenges. So look at networks like Whādiki that are right around the country. Reach out to Te Puni Kōkiri They could tell you where your local business network is. And if there isn't one in your area, start one. Look at
Right.
collaborating
Right.
with others and how you can start that in your own neck of the woods.
Certainly stronger together, eh?
Certainly stronger together.
Nice. What about some tips for sustainability issues?
Okay, so one of the things we're doing, and
Yeah.
it's a simple thing, is we're measuring our carbon footprint.
Right.
That sounds like a big thing, right? And often you will need professional advice, but you can do little things like track your travel, track your waste, track your energy consumption. See how you're doing, then see where those cost savings are.
Right.
That's the E side, and there's a lot of other things you can do. There's a lot of change in legislation that puts a lot of pressure on businesses. Make sure you know what's happening in that space. But tell your story as well. If you are doing things, if you are buying green and buying goods that are more sustainable, tell your story. We've got networks on social media. You know, there are ways to tell your story now. Not enough businesses are doing that. On the social front, measure what you're doing. So you are probably sponsoring sports groups
Right.
or out there in the community. You're employing people. You're making an impact in the community.
Kia ora.
Tell your story.
Yeah.
Let people know what you're doing, because that one encourages them to do the same,
Yeah.
but also lets people know.
Well, as a consumer, I'm going to support that sort of culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the way people are now.
Awesome.
They are looking at what aligns to my values, what businesses align to my values.
Love it.
So it's important to tell your story out there.
So we spoke earlier about labour shortage challenges. What about tips around that?
Labour shortage challenges, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But one of the key things is you already have employees, look after them.
Yeah.
Two, you may need to reach further than you have before to get the people you need. But look at different skill sets. Bringing new people in, they come in with new ideas. Embrace those new ideas. Bring people in who have different skill sets.
Cool.
Many professions and jobs are changing where you need to bring all sorts of challenges in. So just look outside what you would normally look for. Just spread a little bit
Nice.
wider.
Yeah.
To
That's
reach
good
out.
advice for everything, actually.
Yes, yeah.
That's real cool. So what about some advice for our business leaders, our Māori business leaders, who are under a lot of pressure, and how can they sort of look after their well-being and their wairua?
Yes, this is one of the key areas that people don't focus on. So you're so busy looking after everybody else, especially when times are tough. You want to make sure everyone's okay and the business is running properly, but your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
So you need to look after yourself
Yeah.
as well, and take that time out with your whānau, with your friends, and really look after your own health and well-being. That's a priority
Yeah.
above anything else. The business won't operate often without you. You're often that key person
Yeah.
that keeps everything moving.
Yeah.
So look after yourself. You know, there's a lot of great things businesses are doing at the moment around flexibility. You know, people can work from home. There's a focus on fitness and well-being and mental health. But often you put that out for everybody else
Right.
and not for yourself.
Yeah.
So you really need to take the time to focus on your own health and well-being. It's key.
That's good advice and such important advice, eh? To look after ourselves. Tikana. Kārawe, he mihi tēnei ki a koe mo enei kōrero rangatira. I just want to thank you so much for all this helpful and interesting kōrero. And I just love the fact that we've got our own people in business doing amazing things, and you guys are there to look after them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Kia ora koe.
Kia ora.